Love is a universal language, a force powerful enough to inspire art, ignite revolutions, and fuel boundless devotion. But what happens when that same force doesn't build worlds, but destroys them? History isn't just written in treaties and battles, it's also etched in secret letters, whispered promises, and scandalous liaisons that shook empires to their core. From a king who gave up his crown for love, to a romance that brought down an entire republic. These are the top 10 bizarre love affairs that changed the course of history. And trust me, when you hear number 1, you'll never see the fall of an empire the same way again. Number 10. Enter the Diamond Necklace Affair, the scandal that shook a throne. In the glittering yet treacherous world of 18th century France, few events so spectacularly tarnished a royal reputation as the infamous Diamond Necklace Affair. This wasn't a romantic escapade involving Queen Marie Antoinette herself, but rather an elaborate web of deception that cemented her image as a symbol of extravagance and corruption. The drama began when Parisian jewelers Charles-Auguste Baymer and Paul Bassange, desperate to sell their lavish 2,800-carat creation, originally designed for Madame du Barry, found themselves without a buyer after King Louis XV's death. The Queen, in a rare display of restraint, declined the piece twice, remarking, "We have more need of ships than diamonds." Yet, into this moment of vulnerability stepped Jeanne de la Motte, a cunning social climber with an audacious scheme. Exploiting the ambitions of Cardinal de Rohan, desperate to regain royal favor, she forged letters, staged a midnight garden rendezvous with a prostitute disguised as the queen, and convinced him to purchase the necklace on her behalf. The treasure was dismantled and sold on the black markets of Paris and London. When the jewelers demanded payment directly from Marie Antoinette, the scandal erupted, and despite her proven innocence, public fury soared. The narrative of a queen obsessed with jewels resonated with a starving populace, turning simmering resentment into white-hot anger. This sensational fraud didn't cause the French Revolution outright, but it poured fuel on the fire, accelerating the downfall of both the monarchy and the woman who became its most infamous symbol. Number 9. The Maria Reynolds Affair, America's first political sex scandal. In 1791, Alexander Hamilton, revered architect of America's financial system and the first Secretary of the Treasury, began an illicit relationship with Maria Reynolds, a married woman trapped in a toxic marriage. But this was no ordinary affair. Maria's husband, James Reynolds, quickly realized its potential for profit. With full knowledge of his wife's involvement, he orchestrated a blackmail scheme, demanding over $1,000 from Hamilton in exchange for silence. The payments trickled in, but fate tightened the trap when James was implicated in a separate financial fraud. Confronted by political rivals like James Monroe, Hamilton faced accusations of corruption. In a move both shocking and strategic, he admitted to adultery, providing Maria's love letters as evidence to clear himself of the more serious charge of financial misconduct. For a few years, the secret remained buried, until notorious pamphleteer James Callender got hold of the letters and exposed the affair in 1797. In an unprecedented act of political self-destruction, Hamilton published his own pamphlet confessing to the amorous connection in excruciating detail. While the admission protected his legacy as a financial visionary, it permanently tarnished his public image and ended any realistic hope of higher office. More than just a personal downfall, the Reynolds affair introduced a new era in American politics, where private indiscretions could be weaponized to destroy public figures, a precedent that still shapes political warfare today. At number 8, we unravel the scandalous and politically explosive connection between England's Virgin Queen and the man who may have been her one true love, Robert Dudley. Elizabeth I and Dudley shared a lifelong bond, forged in childhood and strengthened when he became her master of horse, an intimate position in both court and daily life. Their closeness became the subject of endless gossip across Europe. But the whispers turned into an international scandal after the sudden and suspicious death of Dudley's wife, Amy Robsart, in 1560. Found at the bottom of a staircase with a broken neck, her demise was officially ruled a misadventure. Yet rumors of foul play exploded when observers noted Dudley's absence from her funeral and recalled that the Spanish ambassador had hinted at his imminent new position, presumably as the Queen's husband. Whether innocent or guilty, the political damage was irreversible. Elizabeth, ever the astute strategist, recognized that marrying Dudley would taint her reign with scandal and undermine her authority at home and abroad. Instead, she transformed her unmarried status into a potent political tool, cultivating an image as the unattainable Virgin Queen, wedded only to her realm. Ironically, the very rumor that prevented their union may have secured her throne, as it allowed her to flirt diplomatically with foreign suitors while retaining absolute independence. The affair, part romance, part political chess, left an enduring mark on English history, proving that even unproven scandal can redirect the course of a reign and redefine a monarch's legacy. At number 7, we step into the frostbitten winter of 1889, where an imperial romance ended in blood and sent shockwaves across Europe. Crown Prince Rudolf of Austria-Hungary, heir to one of the most powerful thrones in the world, was discovered dead in his secluded Mayerling hunting lodge alongside his 17-year-old mistress, Baroness Mary Vetsera. At first, the court claimed Rudolf and succumbed to a heart aneurysm, a fragile lie quickly shattered by whispers of a murder-suicide pact. Their love, forbidden and suffocating under the weight of courtly expectations, became an escape route from lives they could no longer bear. Emperor Franz Joseph I, desperate to protect the monarchy, tried to bury the truth, but the succession crisis could not be hidden. With Rudolf gone, the imperial crown passed to his conservative cousin, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, a man whose rigid politics stood in sharp contrast to Rudolf's liberal ideals. This twist of fate would echo through history. Franz Ferdinand's 1914 assassination in Sarajevo became the spark that ignited World War I. Historians still debate whether Rudolf's liberal leadership could have eased ethnic tensions and steered the empire away from collapse. What is certain is that a single night of desperate passion in Mayerling altered the course of global events, setting off a chain reaction that would claim millions of lives and redraw the map of Europe. Sweeping in at number 6, we meet an emperor whose love story was as fierce as his conquests, yet ultimately surrendered to cold political calculation. Napoleon Bonaparte's marriage to Joséphine de Beauharnais began in fiery passion, with the young general utterly captivated by her elegance and charm. But as his empire expanded, so did the pressure to secure an heir for the Bonaparte dynasty. Joséphine, unable to bear children, became the one obstacle to Napoleon's grand vision of a lasting imperial bloodline. The final blow came after the death of her grandson, Napoleon Charles, his designated heir. In January 1810, amid both public spectacle and private heartbreak, Napoleon and Joséphine dissolved their marriage, each reading statements professing eternal affection even as they parted. He soon married Archduchess Marie-Louise of Austria, who bore him a son, the King of Rome. Yet the heir he sacrificed his great love to obtain would never rule, and the empire collapsed within a few years. The divorce's impact reached beyond dynastic failure. It underscored Napoleon's views on women's roles, later enshrined in the Napoleonic Code, which severely restricted women's legal rights. This legal legacy, born partly from his personal choice to replace a beloved but childless wife, entrenched gender inequality across Europe for more than a century. Napoleon's decision was more than a broken romance. It was a turning point where private desire bowed to political ambition, reshaping both personal lives and the legal status of millions. Landing at number 5, we uncover a bond born not of passion but of desperation, one that nonetheless shook an empire to its foundations. Tsar Nicholas II and Empress Alexandra shared a deep and unwavering love, but their marriage was overshadowed by tragedy. Their only son and heir, Alexei, suffered from hemophilia, a life-threatening condition in an age without modern medicine. In her frantic search for hope, Alexandra placed her faith in an unlikely savior, Grigory Rasputin, a Siberian mystic with a scandalous reputation and rumored healing powers. Rasputin's apparent ability to ease Alexei's suffering forged a fierce loyalty in the empress, granting him unprecedented influence within the royal court. But with his growing power came rampant corruption, political manipulation, and lurid tales of debauchery that horrified the aristocracy. Rumors swirled that his relationship with Alexandra was more intimate than spiritual, fueling public outrage and deepening distrust of the monarchy. While no evidence of an actual affair exists, the perception alone was politically poisonous. Rasputin became a lightning rod for criticism, embodying the decay and incompetence that many believed plagued the Romanov dynasty. His assassination in 1916 did nothing to restore the monarchy's standing. Instead, it underscored the chaos at the heart of imperial rule. The empress's devotion, born from a mother's love, became a symbol of royal blindness, accelerating the fall of a 300-year dynasty and paving the way for the Russian Revolution. At number 4, we witness a romance that was as much a geopolitical alliance as it was a personal union: the extraordinary partnership between Catherine the Great and Grigory Potemkin. Their relationship began in the turbulent aftermath of the coup that placed Catherine on the Russian throne, with Potemkin playing a decisive role in securing her power. What followed was no ordinary royal dalliance. It was a meeting of minds, ambitions, and strategic brilliance. Potemkin became Catherine's most trusted advisor and military mastermind, orchestrating Russia's annexation of Crimea in 1783, a conquest that secured access to the Black Sea and transformed Russia into a dominant naval force. Together, they spearheaded the colonization and modernization of southern territories, founding vital cities like Kherson, Nikolaev, and Sevastopol, and encouraging vast waves of settlers. Even after their romantic flames subsided, their political partnership endured, bound by mutual respect and an unshakable vision for Russia's greatness. Far from being a distraction, their affair became a source of momentum for an empire's expansion, proving that love, when fused with power and intellect, can reshape the map of Europe. Their legacy still echoes today in the geopolitical significance of Crimea, a testament to a bond that turned personal passion into lasting imperial might. Coming in at number 3 is the royal romance that forced a king to choose between the throne and the woman he loved. Edward VIII, a charismatic and popular monarch, stunned the world when he fell for Wallis Simpson, an American socialite twice divorced, a woman deemed utterly unacceptable as queen by Britain's government, church, and public. Their relationship, which began in the early 1930s, grew into a constitutional crisis by the time Edward became king in 1936. As head of the Church of England, he was expected to uphold its teachings, which forbade the remarriage of divorced persons while their former spouses were alive. Faced with an ultimatum from Prime Minister Stanley Baldwin and an unyielding parliament, Edward made history. On December 11, 1936, in a globally broadcast radio address, he declared it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility without Wallis by his side. His abdication shifted the line of succession, placing his younger brother, George VI, on the throne and paving the way for the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. Edward's choice marked a rare moment when personal love trumped dynastic duty, forcing the monarchy to modernize in the public eye and proving that even a crown can be surrendered for the sake of the heart. At number 2, we explore the affair that tore England from Rome and permanently altered the religious map of Europe. The fiery relationship between King Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. Henry's marriage to Catherine of Aragon had failed to produce a male heir, and his fixation on Anne, a sharp-witted and politically savvy courtier, became an obsession. Refusing to be his mistress, Anne demanded marriage, forcing Henry into a bitter struggle with the Vatican when Pope Clement VII denied his request for an annulment. Determined to have both Anne and a legitimate heir, Henry took the unprecedented step of rejecting papal authority, establishing the Church of England with himself as its head. This seismic move not only enabled him to marry Anne in 1533, but also triggered the English Reformation, a revolution that dissolved monasteries, redistributed church lands, and redefined England's political and spiritual identity. Though Anne's own fate would end in execution just 3 years later, her role in this religious schism was irreversible. What began as a royal courtship became the catalyst for one of the most profound transformations in Western history, proving how a king's personal passion can reshape the faith, laws, and destiny of an entire nation. Finally, at number 1, we reach the legendary union that not only altered the fate of two powerful lovers, but also ended an era, the romance of Mark Antony and Cleopatra. In 41 BCE, amidst the political chaos following Julius Caesar's assassination, Antony allied himself with the brilliant and enchanting Queen of Egypt. Their partnership was as much about power as passion. Cleopatra sought to preserve her kingdom's independence, while Antony aimed to secure Egypt's immense wealth and military support in his struggle against Octavian. But in Rome, Octavian launched a ruthless propaganda campaign, portraying Cleopatra as a foreign seductress who had bewitched Antony into betraying his homeland. The smear campaign worked, and public sentiment turned against him, leading to the climactic Battle of Actium in 31 BCE. Defeated, the lovers retreated to Egypt, where misinformation about Cleopatra's death drove Antony to take his own life. Cleopatra soon followed, choosing suicide over the humiliation of Roman captivity. Their tragic end marked the fall of the Roman Republic and the rise of Octavian as Emperor Augustus, ushering in the imperial age. This love affair was more than a scandal. It was the turning point that transformed the ancient world, proving that even empires can fall to the tide of passion and ambition. Across centuries and empires, these 10 tales prove one timeless truth. Love, in its most desperate and unconventional forms, can be as explosive as war and as transformative as revolution. From whispered intrigues that birthed new religions to royal passions that reshaped entire nations, these affairs weren't mere side stories. They were turning points in history itself. They remind us that the human heart can be the most unpredictable force of all, capable of redrawing maps and rewriting destinies. Was it their bizarre nature that made them so impactful, or did their impact make them bizarre? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more incredible stories from history. Thanks for watching.